Hey everyone, it's Allie, and today's going to be the day 2 update for our Poison Caution Pathfinder. Today's going to be a really big day because we have quite a lot of new discoveries to talk about today, where we discovered a broken ring for our build that's going to push our build significantly further than we ever thought it was going to be able to push. We have found an insane mercenary that makes us stupidly tanky and fits perfectly into our build, and we're going to talk about an atlas strategy for you to follow along with while progressing, talk about my gear, my upgrades, and what my plans are going to be for day 3, as well as what our first farming strategy is likely to be. First off, let's talk about this broken ring that I mentioned. With 3.26, 3 new pinnacle bosses came out and a bunch of new loot was added to our loot table. One of these bosses has a drop called Betrayal Sting, which by the way is the most common drop from that boss, meaning this item is dirt cheap, that gives us a 25 to 40% chance to inflict an additional poison on the same target when you inflict poison. A few seasons ago, GG nerfed poison builds by 30, 40, 50% because poison was way too strong. And well, now we just got buffed by 40% if you were to get a max roll, as this effectively is just worth 40% more damage. It's going to take me a little bit to figure out how to fit this into the endgame setup because it does have a negative 30 to negative 20 all res roll on it, which is a little bit rough, but that doesn't matter when you just get 40% more damage. What I ended up doing for myself was, because I got Asanafs and I didn't need my Mark of Submission anymore, I simply just replaced my Mark of Submission directly with this and just got a few upgrades to make it work. Again, please go grab one as soon as you can. There'll be a link for it in the description below, and the path of building will be updated with this as well. Next, let's talk about Mercenaries because we learned quite a lot about them over the course of today, and my god, these things are broken. So quick TLDR is that there's a bunch of different loadouts, and when a Mercenary spawns, it'll just simply choose 6 of the abilities from its dedicated loadout to permanently have access to. In our case, we learned that the Striker is literally perfect for a build, complementing and fixing all of the defensive issues that we might have when it comes to physical damage intake. Ideally, what you're going to want to do is find yourself a striker that at least has access to determination and decoy totem, as these 2 skills are disgusting. What I ended up finding in an Act 3 map was this striker right here with Vigilant Strike, Enduring Cry, Physical Aegis, Determination, and Decoy Totem. Ideally, you would want to find the infamous version of him, as infamous strikers can spawn with a golden gem on Vigilant Strike that'll make it so the fortification also applies to you, making you tankier. In my case, the Enduring Cry from him just gives me permanent endurance charges, making me even tankier. Determination gives me a bunch of armor, and Decoy Totem is just the most broken skill in the game. What this does is it just spawns a totem every 10 seconds or so, and it'll just taunt everything on screen and just make it attack the totem. That totem just happens to basically be immortal, and it's literally unkillable by even pinnacle bosses, allowing you to kind of just cheese a lot of boss abilities and allowing you to basically just not have to really play the game. I end up doing quite a lot of harvest while progressing from tier 1 to tier 16 maps, and just every harvest plot, he would just put down a decoy totem, and all the harvest enemies would go and attack it, and I wouldn't have to dodge a single ability. I just stood there and attacked with PConc until the enemies all died. And while I haven't done many essences today, I'm pretty sure it's also going to feel really good there as well. In terms of the gear for the Striker, I end up giving them a Calm's Binding, and you should immediately go buy this for your mercenary. It is downright broken because it converts a quarter of all physical damage that enemies does into fire damage. We don't have any armor and any physical damage action at all, so us converting 25% to fire, so it now has to get reduced by our 75% fire res, basically makes this so we can nullify a giant chunk of phys damage, which is, again, really, really scary. I also end up giving them a Blunderborn, which we'll have to see if I like this or not. This just gives them a lot of health. And I'm going to play around with the Mercenaries gear a little bit more tomorrow, and I can probably give you a more solid plan on exactly what their gear should look like. In terms of my progression, as I've had quite a lot of people ask about this, in the description below, there's going to be a PoE planner for the passive tree I used to level with, for the passive tree I used to progress with, and this should pretty easily make you somewhere around 7 to 10 divines or so, progressing all the way to T16. Tomorrow, I'm going to go and transition into a proper farming shot, and we'll talk about it and have a whole video on it once we're ready to discuss exactly what I want it to look like. In terms of this, all you're going to really want to do for progression is just rush up the middle, pick up these Kirak nodes along with Shaping the Worlds, and then just keep rushing up the middle, ignoring everything on the left and right, all the way to Unwavering Vision. Once you have that, go back down and pick up Shaping the Skies, Shaping the Mountains, along with going down the slants and pick up the Kirak Mission Chance. And from there, you should be able to progress pretty quickly. After that, go and pick up all the harvest nodes on the tree. This is going to be where the majority of your currency is going to come from. And once you get to red maps, you'll make some around 10 chaos or so per map that you do. And all the strongbox nodes, just for a little bit of extra currency. Past this, I then went and got myself the Influence Altar mods, and I was slowly working towards picking up things such as Chills of Perfection and Evasive Adversaries. All you have to really do is simply just find the harvest in every single map and just quickly do it. If you don't know how to do harvests, simply look at the 2 plots you have to make a choice between and pick the plot that has the most teal, blue, whatever color you want to call it, monsters. There's going to be a bunch of different tiers, dark gray, gray, white, and the higher the tier of the monsters, the more harvest juice they're going to give you, which you just simply pick up and then just sell in the auction house pretty quickly. Finally, let's go over what my gear is going to look like, as quite a lot of things changed about it. So obviously, the first thing I did in the morning was immediately go and fit in a Betrayal thing, as well, with the 32% roll I got on mine, I just gained 32% more damage, which is very, very strong. To make this work, because I did lose 20% of my res, I did end up going and grabbing myself a new belt, a new pair of boots, and a new ring. I just spent a maximum of 5C in every single one of these slots and just simply looked for quite a lot of resistance in every single place to not only properly res cap me, but to make up for the minus 21 on my Betrayals thing. This is pretty easy to do, so you shouldn't have too much of an issue doing it yourself, assuming you have 10, 20 chaos lying around, as the gear you're going to find tomorrow is probably significantly better than what I was able to get. After I did that, I simply started doing some mapping and I was having a good time with it, and I saved my money to then go and buy myself some cluster jewels. Here, I went and just bought the bases for all of them using the trade links in the path of building, and I just quickly threw literally 1 roll on my large cluster jewel in the hopes I get something useful. But I'm not going to worry too much about this. I'm going to craft it tomorrow, as this costs several divine to properly craft. My first priority was to then go and buy myself a flask cluster jewel with spike concoction and literally anything else is a second notable. Again, this is mentioned in the note section, so I'd refer to that if you want to know more about this. And then used all of the wild vivid essence that I was farming from doing harvest to quickly craft a projectile cluster with follow through and repeater. From there, I picked up the jewel sockets and I'm going to probably buy some jewels for them later, but that's going to be something I'm going to worry about for tomorrow. After that, I then went and got myself a 28 quality divine flask. This was worth about 40 chaos or so, and I just threw a bunch of alterations at it until I hit a increased amount recovered, reduced recovery rate prefix. And with that, I got myself a 5,000 life divine life flask, which felt really good. I still haven't done my Uber lab because the game was just crashing all day and I just didn't want to waste money VCing at the end of it and not being able to complete it in time. So I'll take care of that tomorrow. But with this flask, oh boy, is Master Surgeon going to feel really good. I then went and got myself a Jade flask, which just increased evasion rate on it just to be a little bit tankier. And then finally, the last major upgrade I made was grab myself a +2 socketed AoE lightning coil that I then went and 6-linked. Now, for the average player, you're not going to be able to do this. I got super lucky on it and I had enough money to buy one for a quote unquote reasonable price. And most likely for you, you're probably going to have to just go and grab yourself a 6-linked one that doesn't have anything special on it. In terms of 6-linking your lightning coil, in the lightning coil section of the path of building, I talk about all the different options you can go for in terms of 6-linking. But by this point, you should be well into tier 16 maps. You should have made quite a few divines from doing harvest, and that should be more than enough to go about 6-linking yours, which should give you some around 60 to 70% extra DPS in comparison to a 4-link. I end up getting to tier 16 maps with a 4-link, and my god, did it feel insane. That's everything that we end up doing for day 2. I hope this answers some of your questions, and if you have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment in the comments below. I also stream on Twitch every single day, so feel free to come by and ask me any questions there, or if you simply just want to come by and hang out with other cuties and be a part of our community, you're more than free to come by or come drop by our Discord. With all that said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you guys are having fun with PConc as much as I am, and I'll see you all in the next video.